when somebody develops something somewhere, it doesn't mean that it can be applicable to your population. So we made sure that it worked in our population.
Mm-hmm.
And then we designed the application and we implemented it and tested it, did a clinical trial. And then based on that, based on those results, what we found is that our population is definitely different than the original population where that tool was developed. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to change the dials on the application, change the variables, um, change the weightage on the variables so that it is more applicable to our population. So what we just did was that we actually generated new knowledge by just applying this old knowledge and trying it out. And so that cycle has been completed where we did this trial and then we got the new knowledge and then we applied the new knowledge and now it's going to keep running. Those cycles keep running, and so the quality of care and the predictability and everything improves with time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started thinking about it. Oh, okay. So you can get this knowledge from the literature, or you can also generate that knowledge from your own population. Okay, so what are the tools you can use to generate that new knowledge from your own population? Well, machine learning has been great in that work. Whether it is supervised learning or unsupervised learning, you can create new knowledge from your own population. That was fascinating, and I've done some work with outside groups where we looked at sepsis and other conditions, and sure enough, you can generate new knowledge from your own population. And there have been examples of looking at length of stay, uh, readmission rates, and stuff like that, where you can predict those outcomes, um, just by studying the data.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got me thinking, oh, if we can study the data and come up with solutions, why not we implement that directly into patient care while we are doing these clinical trials? And so you generate new knowledge and then you implement that new knowledge and then you keep that cycle going. So where you're improving care and then implementing that knowledge and the cycle continues. And so it gets better and better each time. Now, if you think about the traditional way of generating new knowledge is, somebody comes up with an idea, a, um, a hypothesis, and then they pick a sample population and they do a study, and then they try to generalize that result to the general population. Well, the problem is that not all populations are the same. And when you actually implement that, a lot of these studies don't live up to their expectations. Some of them they just fall through, and then there may be some negative results from it. So it's a very imperfect science where you're doing this in a small subset of the population, your study population, and then you're trying to implement that. Let's say somewhere in Netherlands somebody did a study and you want to implement that in California, it may or may not work.